Meghan Markle and Wallis Simpson compared. Are they really that similar? Meghan Markle, 38, is the Louisiana-born American actress who wed Prince Harry, 34. She has been compared to Wallis Simpson on a number of occasions. But, how similar are they really? There are a number of similarities between Meghan Markle and Wallis Simpson. Wallis Simpson was the divorced American socialite whose marriage to King Edward in 1937 saw him abdicate from the throne. The royal family would be very different today if it weren't for the fateful romance. The scandal set in motion a series of events that led Queen Elizabeth II to the throne. Britain would not have one of the world's longest-serving monarchs today if it hadn't been for Wallis, the Duchess of Windsor. Both Wallis and Meghan are American, and both were divorced before they married their royal princes. But do the similarities stop there? A body language analyzed the two women. She found that despite some claims, the two women are, in fact, very different. Judy James told Express.co.uk, "It's easy to draw comparisons between Meghan and Wallis, two confident, stylish and divorced U.S. women. They both won the heart of an English prince. One caused a constitutional crisis, but for the other the crisis sadly seems to be in her own family. However, the way both women behave betrays an innate difference between them," Judy claimed. Despite their superficially similar circumstances though, Meghan and Wallis's body language traits reveal they are two completely different women. Wallis's unique, forensically defined style and her poses from a very early age suggest she deliberately adopted a look that can only be described as severe. Judy claims this is a trait that developed over the years for Wallis, perhaps due to her awareness of the tensions her romance caused within the royal family. The Queen Mother was famously unhappy with Wallis Simpson, as she blamed Prince Edward's abdication for her husband King George's early death. Judy said, "With her strong jaw and brows and her thin lips, Wallis meets the cameras with a direct and piercing gaze, while her torso is either standing to attention beside her husband or elegantly arranged in the style of an aloof mannequin." She defined herself to the public with a look that was cold to the point of intimidating. Not one hair ever seemed to escape the tightly coiffed hairstyle, and when she smiled it was a slight lifting of the corners of the lips with no display of teeth. Any softness that she did suggest was aimed solely at her husband Edward, and when she was seen to gaze at him we can see the only shared traits between her and Meghan, with the intense, adoring and supportive eye gaze rituals they both perform in public. Meghan Markle, on the other hand, is an open book, according to Judy. The actress is warm and kind to the public. Judy said, where Meghan's body language suggests high levels of elegance, she also displays warmth and approachability. When she worked in the Grenfell kitchens, the women came up to hug her in a gesture of natural-looking empathy. She excels in being tactile and relatively spontaneous, and her affectionate touch rituals with Harry form ongoing ptas that are in direct contrast to the stiffly formal body poses between Wallis and Edward. There are some shots of Wallis and Edward holding hands, but in contrast to the flirty, sexy signals from Meghan to Harry, Wallis seemed to keep Edward in her thrall via a more dominant and intensely focused persona. Judy told Express.co.uk the real comparison lies not between the two women, their royal husbands. She said, "Intriguingly, some of the closest similarities in both looks and body language are between the princes themselves though. With his reddish blonde hair and naughty, lopsided grin, Edward bears a striking resemblance to his brother's great-grandson, and although his often diffident poses might have once looked a mile away from Harry's more extrovert-looking behavior, both men adopted a similarly smitten, besotted look with their charismatic brides, with Harry's more serious and less self-assured body language traits increasing since his wedding. Prince Harry's wife is from the